Delhi Chief Minister Rekha Gupta today tabled an important report on Delhi's pollution by the Controller and Auditor General, or CAG. This report essentially lays bare the past claims of the capital's pollution monitoring agencies that the region's toxic air has been improving over the last few years. It in fact also questions the very mechanism of data collection by agencies, which is the entire foundation of pollution management in the region. Let us first begin with what the key findings of the CAG report are. The report says that in the last 5 years, residents of Delhi breathed toxic air for 1195 days out of 2137 days in the last 5 years, which is nearly 56% of the total number of days. Such extended periods of exposure to such high levels of pollution can have debilitating health risks for its residents. While this was one of the more obvious parts, the report also highlighted that there were significant data lags in the process of pollution monitoring itself. It points out that the locations of the continuous ambient air quality monitoring stations in Delhi did not fulfill the requirements laid down by the Central Pollution Control Board, indicating inaccuracies in data generation. The report then went on to state that this made the AQI, which is a centralized air quality index used to prompt government action against rising pollution levels, an unreliable measure. The gaps do not stop there. The report stated that Delhi also lacked information about the type and number of vehicles plying on its roads, as well as assessments to evaluate their emission load. This means that the government was never in a position to identify emissions from different types of vehicles which may be contributing to high pollution levels. It also stated that the Delhi Pollution Control Committee, or the DPCC, did not have the requisite data on the concentration of pollutants in the air even for a minimum of 16 hours a day, which was essential to assess the overall pollution patterns. Now, this is the most significant finding of the report, primarily because all of our current pollution management is based on the fluctuation of the AQI. The CAQM, which is the apex body for pollution monitoring and control in the Delhi NCR and adjoining areas, calls for the implementation of various stages of the graded response action plan depending on how high or low the AQI levels are. So during winters, when vehicles below a certain emission standard have to be rationed or construction activities have to be banned, it is all based on the recordings that these air quality monitoring stations project. All the work by the government agencies and private think tanks to bring down the pollution levels in Delhi NCR follows what this data tells us. This revelation by the CAG report has suddenly stressed the need for evaluating pollution in India more holistically. AQI cannot be the sole indicator of pollution monitoring and action. Other factors have to be used to assess the situation more comprehensively. For instance, along with the AQI levels and the particulate matter, if we also evaluate markers like vehicular registration, fuel consumption and waste generation, it will help prevent data manipulation. Picture it like this: if fuel consumption and vehicle registrations in the city are increasing, it is unlikely that the air quality will be improving. Now, these are supportive indicators. None of them will be of any benefit if studied in isolation. All these factors have to be considered together to make a final evaluation. Basically, pollution control cannot be done in a unilateral way. It is a much more complicated mechanism which will require plugging multiple leaks and monitoring multiple factors. But these factors are not entirely unknown. Every year, in fact, year after year, pollution levels spike to dangerous levels in Delhi, and the government agencies run around aimlessly issuing orders which rarely have any notable difference on the ground. That was all from me. I am Soumya Pillai, and this was the Print Instant Analysis.